Welcome back to Your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master, and today we're diving straight into one of the darkest, most heartbreaking episodes of It, Welcome to Derry. Episode 7 doesn't just traumatize you for fun, it carefully drags you through grief, brutality, corruption, and cosmic horror, and somehow makes all of it feel painfully real. This isn't just a scary episode. This is an episode about humans being worse than monsters, about history repeating itself, and about how Derry feels cursed, not just by Pennywise, but by the people living inside it. This episode slows things down just long enough to make the pain hurt more. It gives us quieter moments before throwing us into firestorms, spiritual visions, and revelations that completely reframe what we thought we knew about Pennywise and the town itself. And somehow, by the end of it, the scariest thing isn't the clown. It's what people are willing to do when they think fear makes them powerful. The real Pennywise and Ingrid's broken childhood. The episode opens by taking us back in time to 1908, and this is where things get quietly devastating. We finally see the real Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Not the alien, not the shapeshifter, but the man. And honestly, he's not evil, he's not violent, he's not disturbing. He's just sad. A grieving widower trying his best to be a good father to his daughter, little Ingrid. He performs for kids, makes them laugh, survives on applause and kindness because that's all he has left. And that's the cruelty of it all. There's no hint that he deserves what happens to him. He's a genuinely decent man in a world that is already too broken to keep him safe. And that's where it enters the picture. Not loudly, not with teeth, not with balloon animals made of nightmare fuel, just quietly, watching, wearing the skin of a child it had already killed. A little boy lost in the woods, crying for his mother, and that's all it takes. The real clown, the real father, the real human being can't ignore a child in trouble. He follows him into the woods, hand in hand, driven by the one thing he couldn't do for his own wife when she was alive, save someone. And that's how he disappears. No witnesses, no real answers, just blood, a handkerchief, and an official story about wolves. But Ingrid doesn't buy it. Not then, not ever. Something inside her knows the truth isn't that simple. And that crack in reality becomes the place where Pennywise will live rent-free in her mind for decades. The Black Spot Fire. Human monsters take center stage. Then we move into the true horror of the episode, the Black Spot Fire. Let's not soften it. This isn't supernatural horror. This isn't fantasy. This is real-world, human-made terror, and it's filmed in a way that forces you to sit with it. You know what's coming. The show makes sure you know it, and still, the slow build almost tricks you into believing maybe it won't happen. Maybe someone will stop it. Maybe they'll make it out, but they don't. Chief Bowers and his group of white supremacist terrorists crash into the Black Spot, a place that should have been safe, a place full of music, laughter, dancing, and community, a place where Hank Grogan is being hidden because Derry has already decided he's a monster, a place Halloran never even wanted him to be because he knew how dangerous it would be. Chaos breaks loose. Molotov cocktails, gunfire, people screaming, walls of fire. And the thing that hurts the most is how many brave people still try to protect each other. The airmen pull their state-issued weapons, trying to defend a community that isn't even theirs on paper, but feels like theirs in spirit. Hank refuses to hide while others die for him. Halloran, already haunted by spirits he doesn't fully understand, steps up anyway. Halloran, Sesqui, and the children who escaped. This is where the spiritual horror and human horror collide. Halloran reaches out to the forgotten voices, to the ancestors, and he finds Sesqui, a war chief who faced it long before anyone here. She becomes his guide, helping him find a way to get the children out through rotten boards under a refrigerator, a disgusting little escape tunnel that feels almost symbolic. Survival in Derry doesn't come from clean paths. It comes from crawling through rot. Will, Ronnie, Hank, they make it out, but not everyone does. Rich dies. And it's not some flashy death. It's not dramatic in a cinematic way. It's painfully human. He saves Marge by shoving her into a box, forcing smoke and carbon monoxide into his own lungs so she can live. He doesn't scream. He doesn't give a speech. He just disappears into poison air, and somehow that's worse than being torn apart. And right when you think the episode might let you breathe, Pennywise arrives, because of course he does. The fire is chaos. The fear is thick. The panic is everywhere, and fear is his favorite flavor. Ronnie sees him feeding, sees him doing what he does best, and it's almost insulting how calm he feels in comparison to the human violence that just happened, like he's just there to clean up leftovers. Ingrid Kersh meets the monster she calls Papa. This part is twisted in the most heartbreaking way. Ingrid helped create this situation. She tipped people off. She wanted chaos. She wanted bodies. Why? Because she wanted a chance to see her father again, even if it meant feeding children to a monster. Stan Kersh, her husband, gets his head snapped off by Pennywise in front of her eyes. And the worst part? You almost don't feel bad for him. He was abusive, racist, cruel, a butcher in every sense of the word. But what kind of world makes you ask yourself whether you're rooting for a cosmic alien over a human being? That's Derry. Ingrid finally confronts Pennywise, asking the question that destroys what little illusion she was holding on to. That's not your papa. And Pennywise responds by opening his mouth and unleashing the light, something so bright and terrible that blinds her and shatters her mind. Whatever he shows her isn't just visions, it's terror, packaged as knowledge, the kind of thing humans aren't designed to understand. She survives, technically. She's carried away on a stretcher, alive but shattered, while the town quietly decides Hank Grogan must be dead too, which of course he isn't. And that lie matters, because Derry doesn't care if he's alive. The result is the same: fear, control, silence.
The Pillars, the Cage, and Shaw's real plan. The second half of the episode starts weaving together the bigger plot, the one involving the pillars and the cage that holds Pennywise. Halloran thinks Sesqui is leading him to help seal the monster away. But what if she's doing the opposite? What if she's trying to warn her people? What if leading Shaw's team is actually part of a larger plan to stop them? Because Taniel discovers something horrifying. One of the pillars has already been removed. The cage isn't just cracked, it's open, which means Pennywise's nap cycle is breaking. Then we check in with Leroy. For once, he does something genuinely honorable. He sends Hank back to Derry with Charlotte, who plans to get him across the border with Rose's help. That detail matters. Rose doesn't see borders as real, and that tiny bit of humanity might save lives. But Leroy's real turning point comes when he realizes Shaw lied to him. The plan was never to strengthen the cage, it was to weaken it. And when Fuller redirects the pillar toward the base instead of destroying it, Leroy understands he has been a pawn. He pulls a gun on his own men. He tries to stop them. He fails. The pillar burns. And now we're sitting with a terrifying question. What happens when you melt a piece of a star? Does it die, or does it become something far worse? It might make it easier to build weapons out of it, and that might be exactly what Shaw wants. Will and the terrifying light ending. And that's when we finally understand Shaw. He's not some genius mastermind. He's not complex. He's not even clever. He's just a man who believes fear is the best way to control a country. He admits the Black Spot fire calmed things down. He sees violence as peace, terror as order, and he seems very comfortable with the idea of Pennywise being unleashed as a punishment tool, state-sponsored horror. And then the episode closes on Will. Pennywise doesn't kill him. He doesn't eat him. Instead, he opens his mouth and shows him the light, just like he did to Ingrid. We don't get clear answers about what that light is, but the implication is terrifying. It's not just fear. It's memory. It's knowledge. It's images of things a human mind shouldn't be forced to carry. Death, hunger, cycles of violence, possibly the truth about what Pennywise really is. Whatever it is, it changes Will. And that's the real ending of episode 7. Not death, not fire, not blood, but the idea that some kids don't escape Derry by leaving it. They escape by surviving and carrying it inside them forever. Our nerdy thoughts. And that's everything that went down in It, Welcome to Derry, Episode 7, from the heartbreaking origin of the real Pennywise, to the black spot tragedy, to the terrifying moment when Will stared straight into the light and lived to tell the tale. This episode made it clear that the real horror of Derry isn't just the monster in the sewer, it's the rot sitting right at the heart of the town itself. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into horror, sci-fi, and twisted TV universes. Drop a comment and tell me, what do you think Pennywise showed Will? Was it fear, memories, or something even worse? Until next time, this is your Spoiler Master signing off, and remember, in Derry, nothing ever really stays buried.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.